Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome back to Llama's Creations DIY. My name is Tammy. Today I am participating in another challenge. The rules of the challenge are pretty darn easy. Just has to be Valentine's Day themed. Let's go. So I started out with this board I got from Dollar Tree. I had already painted one side but didn't like it, so I am going to paint it again using my homemade chalk paint. To make my homemade chalk paint, I used plaster of Paris and just some regular latex paint. You mix it equal parts together and mix the bejeebies out of it until all the lumps go away. And so far, so good. I like it. Next, I lost the footage of where I showed you where I got these from, but I picked up some poster board stickers from Dollarama here, and I stuck them onto this board, and then I used the end of my little pokey tool here to adhere them to the board properly. Now, taking my DIY chalk paint and a couple drops of red, I'm mixing up to make a pink, and I'm going to paint the entire board right over top of all those letters. And I only give this one coat, I believe, and I may touch it up here and there. Then I start peeling these letters off. And let me tell you, these letters were a pain to peel off. I don't know if it's because there was wet, like I did it while the paint was still wet, so they wouldn't be stuck on there for long, but boy, oh boy, they were hard. So I'd given up and I finally got it all off, but you can see some of the backs of the stickers stayed on. So, took my sanding block and sanded away as much as I could. I wanted to sand it anyways to bring out some of the edges, and the letters had a little bit of a ridge on it, so I wanted to smooth those out, but I did what I could. Now, using this wreath heart that I got from BB Crafts, I'm going to also take this pretty pink lacy ribbon, cut off a piece, wrap it around the top part of the heart. I'm going to figure out where I want the heart to lay on my board, flip it over, and I'm going to glue the ribbon down. It's lace, so it was pretty easy. The glue just come right through. And of course, I snip off any extra. Don't worry, we'll cover up the back. Then I add a little more glue on the front because it was wibbling around too much. Taking some thicker jute rope, I'm going to start on the bottom in the corner, and I'm going to glue this jute rope all the way around the board. I will have Our Grey House and Jujubee's channel links in my description box down below, along with the playlist, so you can go and check everybody out. I sure do hope you guys go along and see, because they've got some wonderful crafts that they've made. And all I do with the hot glue is just go along, glue down the rope, go along, glue, go, glue, go, glue, glue and go until I'm done. Cut it off on the end and finish gluing it down. Now, while we still have the rope, we're going to make a hanger for it. I tie a knot in the end, put a bunch of hot glue, stick the knot in the glue, and then I flood it with hot glue on top and put a piece of painter's tape on top. And I do the same thing for the other side. If you're new to my channel, I would like to say welcome. I sure do hope you stick around. I do all kinds of crafts, trash to treasure, signs, anything that you can think of. I do. So please hit that subscribe button. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to cover up this back with some craft paper. All I do is add some glue to the back of the board, stick it down, and then with my craft knife I'm going to trim off the extra. And everything on the back is nice and covered. If you're a returning subscriber, I would like to say thank you for coming back and always supporting me. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it, and I love all of you very, very much. Now, taking some more jute rope, I'm going to make a finger bow. Fix it all up. I learned how to make a finger bow from two channels. One is from Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs, and the other one is Sandra from At the Strovin's Nest. And I found this little clear red heart. I do not know what it's from. It's not a bead or anything, but I thought, hey, that would look cute right there. And with that, this project is done. You can still see the staple marks of where the previous hanger was, but I'm okay with that. And you can still kind of see some of the backing of those stickers, but it makes it look a little more rustic. That's what I like to say. On to the next craft. This is a scrap piece of finger joint pine board that I've been using off and on. I gave it a good sanding, and then I'm going to stain it with this Watco Danish oil and the black walnut, sorry. I created this saying on my Canva. I found it on Pinterest, and trying to figure out what to do, I decided to cut them individually into their own phrases. This way it'd be a little more easier to lay it out onto the board. Then I lay it all out, trying to make sure that it looks good. You know, I had trying to figure out which way would look best, and I decided that this is going to be the best way. Now, taking a little bit of painter's tape, I'm going to tape each of the sayings together, sentences, except for the heart with the squigglies. I put that one aside. Now, taking my carbon paper, I'm going to slide it under the first phrase, and with a pencil, go over it, transferring my phrase onto the board. You can do this step with a Cricut if you have one. If you have nice handwriting and are able to do it that way, that would be beautiful as well. Any way you want. And you see there at the bottom, I did the swirlies towards that heart, but I didn't trace on the heart because I have an idea for that. Now, taking my black paint markers, the thin one, I'm going to go over the two first phrases. And you can use any kind of marker you want. Doesn't have to be black. Doesn't have to be a paint marker. And then using my black acrylic marker, I go over heartstrings. And color it in as I go. Yes, I can speak. Words, I tell ya. And then I decided to do these little swirlies with a Sharpie marker, but I do go over it after with the black paint marker. Taking my pink paint marker, I'm going to just draw in some extra lines just to give heartstrings a little more pop. I picked these bags up at Dollarama, and all I really wanted out of them was the hearts, but each bag didn't have enough, so I had to pick up 2. And I'm going to use 10 of them. I'm using 10 hearts because of what I need it for. You may need less. Taking that same mixture of paint and the DIY chalk paint and red mixture mixed into pink. Wow, I can't speak today. I'm going to paint all the hearts pink, just the one side and the edges. I'll just say that. All 10 hearts. Putting 5 of them aside and using 5 only, I'm going to write on my family's names. Hence why I need 5, a total of 10. If you only have 4 people in your family, you would only need a total of 8. 3, you would need 6, and so on and so forth. And I don't know why I did this with the pencil to begin with, because in the end, when I'm going over it with the paint marker, I end up going past every letter anyways. So I should have just done this to begin with. But that's alright. Pencil's easy to erase. Now, taking my drill and a drill bit, I need 2 holes on the bottom and 2 on the top. So that is what I'm going to do. Taking some more jute rope, I'm going to feed it through the bottom of the first hole, tie a whole bunch of knots. Then I'm going to measure out what I need, approximately what I need, cut it off, and then I'm going to space the hearts out on this string the best I can. And what I'm trying to do is have about the same amount of distance in between each heart, the best I can. Now, using those other 5 hearts, I take it, flip it over so that the unpainted side is up, put a strip of hot glue along, lay the jute rope in the glue, then I put more hot glue on top of the string, and I match up the heart with the name on it with the other heart, sandwiching the string in between. And I do that for all 5 of the hearts. I'll show you again. Hot glue, string in the hot glue on top of that string, heart with the name on top, and squish it together. And I try my best to keep them separated as the same, at least somewhat the same distance apart. Now, in the inspiration that I got this from, it didn't have a part that I'm going to go on. It just basically, this would be it. But when I would hang it up, all the hearts would flip over and move all over the place. And I didn't really like that. So you'll see in my next step what I do. And then, of course, after all the hearts are glued on, I string it through the other hole and tie a bunch of knots and trim off all the extra. Now, flipping it over, this is the part that I added on to help it out. Taking more of that jute rope, I tie a knot in both ends, just one single knot. Line it up, put a little bit of hot glue on the back of the heart, stick the knot in the glue, and then I glue the other knot to the underside of this board, just with some hot glue. And I do this to the rest of the hearts. Each one gets one. And then this way, when it's hanging, all those hearts won't flip around and move a lot. They'll stay in place and you'll be able to see the words better. Just like so. Now this is the little heart thing that I found. I have no idea what it is and I don't know where it comes from, but all I do is attach it with some hot glue right into the middle there. It did eventually fall off on me, so I used some Gorilla Glue, and you'll notice in the reveal some of the Gorilla Glue slipped out, but that's all right. I just freehanded some hearts on either side of the saying, outlined them in black, painted them in with the same color of pink, and then with a bigger jute rope, thicker jute rope, I'm going to thread one end in on the top, tie a great big knot, do that to the other side, trim off anything extra, and with that, this project's complete. This is where you see here the little white spludges coming out. That's Gorilla Glue. I try and scrape it off, but I think it would take the wood off with it. But I love it anyways. And for my final project, I've had this wreath heart for a really long time. I spray painted it white because it originally was this bluey green color. There, you see it right there. I'm okay that some of it showed through, but the main part is white. Taking this cream colored burlap ribbon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this wreath with this cream colored burlap ribbon. First, I just glue it onto itself, and then I just wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap. I wrap all the way around. I get to the end of this ribbon, glue it off, and then I continue until the whole thing is wrapped. Then taking this red burlap ribbon, I basically am doing the same thing, but not the entire ribbon. I do 5 different places, just so I can accentuate where the dip is in the heart and where the point is of the heart, just to give it something a little extra. Just like that. I was at Dollarama and I picked up some of these foam roses, and I thought they were really pretty. And there's little tiny ones. And then I've got some greenery out of my stash, and I believe those are cherry blossoms. I found those in my stash as well. First, snipping off the rose on the big ones. I'm just going to randomly put them, not randomly I guess, I was kind of figuring out where to put them, but I'm just going to hot glue them onto place, onto this heart. And then these little pink roses, I don't know why, but they glued them into the package. Like every single rose was glued down onto this package. I was like, what? Why? How am I supposed to use it if it's glued down? Like, why? But again, I started out with putting 2 little small roses in between the big roses, and then I filled in with all the rest, just to fill it out. At this point, I was a little worried, because I was thinking, is this actually going to look good? But it does look good in the end. Taking these cherry blossoms, I cut them down as far as I can, and I start gluing them in the gaps. I start filling it all in, making sure there is nothing open. And this is where it starts to all come together. Then I realized it needed a hanger, so I grabbed a pipe cleaner, fed it through that red burlap one, folded it onto itself, turned it around, gave it a hanger. Time to make a bow. I have this burlap with this nice lacy ribbon on top. I take a loop, glue it together, cut off a piece for its tail, cinch it in the middle, find the middle of the tails, put it all together, wrap it with some jute rope, tie it in a double knot with a little bit of glue in between the 2 knots, and cut off the extra. Fluff the bow, dovetail the ends, and then we're going to glue it right in the center of this wreath. Taking these greenery pieces, I stick 2 on the top with some hot glue, and then I put 2 on the bottom. And when you're done that, this project is complete. Pretty. I like it. I love the different sizes of roses and their different pinks. So pretty and pastel-y. I would like to thank Lisa from Our Grey House and Sarah from Jujube DIY for hosting this challenge. I really enjoyed making all of these wonderful crafts for everybody. I would also like to thank everybody for watching. If you could, if you haven't already, please like this video. It sure helps me into the YouTube world, and it's free. Subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget that little bell. I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!